every day I'm here for a reason, and I'll try to make the best out of it. That's it, right? And the best, what I'm talking about is like having a version of myself that is better than I am right now. So like, this is my current version. This is my kind of like the next version of myself. And I'm every day striving and trying to get better to get to that next version of myself.
Well, welcome back to a new podcast episode of Real Estate First Technology Unleashed. If you're out there looking to scale your brokerage and you need help with that process, or you need help with mindset and wanting to be able to have more success in your real estate business, then we're excited to bring today's guest. But before we talk about who he is and bring him on, we want to go ahead and encourage you all to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell as new episodes come live. Now on Sundays at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have the one and only Dan Gandy, our co-host. Welcome to Real Estate First Technology. What shirt you got there? Huh? Is that living in Dallas, Texas? Are you that Levi Last?
Nice. No, it's the most comfortable shirt ever. And yeah, shout out to Levi for sending them our way.
Yeah, dude, they're crushing it. They're doing amazing jobs over there. And they were also on the show too, so you have to check out Levi's episode. But let's get to today's podcast guest. This individual was a refugee, and he went from literally like nothing to now growing a very successful business, multiple businesses, and he helps real estate agents, team leaders, broker owners scale their businesses. He's a CEO of the Modern Day Broker, and he also has the Best Home Real Estate. So we're going to get into all the details and what he's specifically doing, how does it all tie together, and how is he adding massive value to our industry. We have the one and only Alan on the show. Welcome to Real Estate First Technology, sir.
What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
Good to have you on.
All right, thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's get a little into your story, and I see in your bio and some stuff you brought in, or you typed into when you first submitted to be on the show, and you said real estate is like the best industry to be in regards to, there's so many different industries out there, but to build wealth and have more success, and you're doing amazing things here. I was looking at what you put in too. You have helped out quite a bit of brokerages scale to 4 to 5 plus agents on a monthly basis, and what you're doing with your own brokerage there, 300 plus agents. I mean, congratulations. I'm sure that's probably even more now since you registered to even be on our show from the beginning. So let's get into your story, man. So refugee to now here in Glendale, Arizona, not too far from me here in Gilbert, Arizona.
Yeah, we're probably about 50 minutes away from each other. And, quick backstory about myself. I mentioned, you mentioned to me that was a refugee. We actually arrived to this country about 30 years ago, a little bit over 30 years ago, 33 years ago, back in 1990 on Christmas Day, from a former republic of Soviet Union. Okay. And it was 5 of us, my dad, my mom, 2 of my siblings. We ended up in New York City. And the reason we ended up in New York City is because my dad's aunt lived there for many, many years. And she was our sponsor. She basically took us under her wings for the first month and a half or so, 2 months we lived with her. But we came with nothing. I mean, dude, like we probably came with about $550 in our pockets. Like, the former Soviet regime did not allow anything, pretty much, like you're like, they're rationing everything, like only one piece of jewelry, only this, only that. And like I said, like $500, that's all we came with.
Jeez.
And on top of that, we didn't speak any English at all. So it was tough. It was rough. It was very, very difficult. For me, being a 12-year-old turning 13, was another set of challenges that I had to deal with as a teenager, going through American school and adjusting, adapting to the American way of doing things. The kids at that age, they can be pretty cruel.
Imagine.
It was tough, man. I remember one day I show up to the class, man, and I have a stick of deodorant on my desk. At that time we didn't have any money. We didn't wear. I was not wearing like American clothes or anything like that. I remember I wanted to wear American clothes so badly, like sneakers and jeans and everything like that, that like, man, I got to get a job. So my first job was, I was 13 years old. I was standing outside of the shopping mall and handing out flyers for $1.50 an hour. So I would go to school, finish school like at around 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'd go to work till about 9, 10 o'clock, and I would make $1.50 per hour, 6 days a week, making money and bringing that money to this household, and some money I would keep, and I would just go and finally buy that T-shirt or those jeans or those sneakers and all that kind of stuff. So since that point on, I'm 46 years old right now. I've been always working, even through college years, that I felt like was a waste of time. I was still working and all of that stuff. So fast forward the story, got married in 2000, year 2000. So been married for almost 25 years now. An amazing wife, super supportive, super loving. We have 3 beautiful kids. The oldest one is 16 years old. The middle one, Zach, is 13. Abigail is 12. Been in business world now for a little bit over 20 years. Started my first business when I was 25 years old, a luxury transportation business. And we started, my partner at that time, who's my brother-in-law still.
Okay.
We started a limo business with 2 cars, a few $1,000, and we were able to grow that business to 24 vehicles, and did over $2 million in revenue. And finally, we're able to kind of like start making money after about 2-3 years. I remember the first 2-3 years starting a business, and I'm sure you guys can relate to it as well. It's hard. Like, we don't know what we were doing. I was working 18, 17 hours a day, 7 days a week. I was doing everything. I was dispatching. I was, developing accounts. I was managing business and all of this stuff. And, we didn't know really how to grow and scale at that time. So everything was just us, and us, right?
Yeah.
So finally, after a few years, we started seeing some results and started making money. And then 2007, 2008 happened, the Great Recession. And everything freaking stopped. A lot of our business was retail. So like, people were renting like Hummer limos and party buses for like all kinds of events and everything like that, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So about 60 to 70% of our business dropped in the first 6 months. We had to let go a lot of our people. We had to sell a bunch of our cars. Some of our cars were repossessed by the banks. I was over leveraged with the investment properties. We were buying them like hotcakes at that time, thinking they're going to be appreciating every single day. And the opposite was happening. So I had to foreclose on all of my rental properties. My wife was pregnant with our second child during that period of time when we're losing our primary home, our main residence. And she was freaking out. I was in debt for about $500,000. A lot of bad things were happening. I think one of the, the worst things, but I also think it was probably one of the best things that happened to me during that period of time, was the fact that when my wife ended up leaving to New York to give birth to our son, and the worst part about that process was the fact that I did not witness, or I was not there during the birth of my son. I didn't have the money to fly out to New York to be there, right? And I was trying to figure out also where to find a place to live here. Now, the best part about that whole thing, and I don't know if you can call it the best, but is the fact that from that point on, I said, there's no way in the world I will allow this to happen again to me and to my family. So from that point on, I had to push through. I figured things out. We pivoted with our business. We downsized. We changed it from a retail model to a corporate model. And then 2012, we sold the company. And I took a little sabbatical. And then in 2013, that's when I got into the real estate world. I was always familiar with it, but I always kind of shied away from being in it really all in full time. And got my license 2013, thinking that I'm going to conquer the world and start selling real estate left and right. And boy, that was I guess the over ambitious thing that I thought about. The first 6 months were the toughest. Few things happened. My dad was diagnosed with cancer, colon cancer. I was stressing quite a bit during that period of time because I was not generating any income at all. At that time, we already had 3 kids. 3 kids under the age of 5. My daycare bill alone was about $2,000. My mortgage was another $2,000. No money coming in, commission based. And I also, on top of that, picked probably the most difficult lead source to work as a brand new agent, which were expired, canceled, and for sale by owners. Every day I would show up to the office and I would just dial hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of numbers.
Wow.
And I would get rejected hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And finally, I would get a listing appointment and I would go and I would just bomb because I didn't know what I was doing. At the same time, I was diagnosed with autoimmune disorder or disease called ulcerative colitis. I don't know if you're familiar with that disease.
I've been there. I had it.
Oh, you had it? Yeah. So instead of me thinking about the listing appointment, I'm thinking about the nearest bathroom that I can go and go to, right? Because with that disease, unfortunately, you can go to the bathroom number 2, that is, as many as 10, 15 times a day. So I had to deal with that in my first 2.5 years, 3 years as a real estate agent.
Wow.
So finally, after about 6 months of getting rejected, getting my ass kicked, if you will, and getting my teeth kicked in, finally, I was able to get my first listing. That was a $100,000 listing. But it felt like it was $1 million listing.
Oh yeah.
And it was like a $2,500 commission check, but it felt like it was a $25,000 commission check.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it felt like it was a win. Finally, I was able to overcome something that before that I was just stressing out quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then that's how it kind of snowballed after that. I closed on 16 deals. My last 6 months of the year, then 35, my second year, 75, my third year. Started a team in 2016, built that team to 15 agents, over 200 transactions. And then 4 years ago, a little bit over 4 years ago, started our own brokerage. We hired over 360 agents since. We got a mortgage company on the side. We have a title company on the side, a property management company. So, and then modern day brokerage is something that we started about 1.5 years ago, Tristan and I, my partner, because I was coaching team owners and brokerage owners in growing and scaling their businesses. So I said, might as well do it full time and get paid for it.
Yeah.
So we did that 1.5 years ago. We have 117 clients that we work with right now, nationally as well as in Canada.
Nice.
Basically, what we do is we're done for you, like an agency type of a model. We help brokerage owners or team owners to roll out their agent attraction marketing, where instead of chasing agents, they're attracting those agents into their world. So we run that for them, we manage that for them, and on average, our clients bring anywhere between 4 to 5 agents every single month.
That's awesome.
That's huge.
Wow. What a roller coaster.
That's a remarkable story of perseverance and determination. There's many real estate agents need to listen to this because they give up after 100 calls. Right?
But isn't that the life in general, though? If you think about it, one thing that I didn't mention to you guys is the fact that when I was born, back in 1978, I was born with a heart defect. They call it ventricular septal defect or something like that, where they found a hole in my heart. And at that time, the doctors told my parents, and they freaked him out. They said he's got 50-50 chance of surviving past 2 years. And because we were living in a dirt poor republic, a former Soviet Union, and even Soviet Union at the time didn't have the advanced technologies or anything like that. I mean, my parents took me to one place to after another, doctors, and nobody could operate on my heart. So I'm lucky to be alive. I'm so blessed to be in this country and able to do what I'm doing. And, but that's pretty much the case with everybody. We all go through adversities in life, we all go through seasons in life. And I think our job is to continue to push through versus retrieving and waving a white flag. Every time there's a hurdle or a challenge or something that we feel like we cannot just go overcome.
I love that. I love how the cards are stacked against you in so many different regards ever since birth, but you kept on rising, and all those trials and tribulations and hard things that you went through helped you just get a stronger external shell, if you will, to a point now where you built this empire and the sky's the limit. And it sounds like you'll never go back. Now that you've figured out what you need to do and how to do it, you're now set yourself up with just a solid foundation to just build and build and build this amazing skyscraper of this empire that you're doing here, which is awesome. Hats off to you, man. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm not sure if I build an empire, to be honest with you. I think we're kind of like in the early stages of this, or like, I feel like it's almost kind of like a train, right? I grew up in New York City. I used to take public transportation quite a bit of times. And, so we're like station number 1 or station number 2, and there's so many stations to go, right?
Yeah.
I don't know where my journey is going to take me. Like I come to, like, I used to be so like preoccupied in terms of like, man, this is where I want to be in 2 years. This is where I want to be in 5 years. This is where I want to be in 10 years. Right. And it just really robs you of a journey of just appreciating what you have.
Yeah.
The fact that we can get up every single morning, the fact that we can see the sun, we can see the sky, the fact that we have a roof over our heads, the fact that we have a loving families or friends or family members, right? The fact that we have a business or a job to go and make a difference, all of those things are blessings.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, every single day, I don't know if you know this, guys, like 150,000 people die every single day around the world. It was a crazy freaking stat.
Yeah.
Imagine how many of them do not get up the next day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you look at it that way, and you're like, shit, I got to sell real estate for a living. I got to help people like to buy and sell their house. Like it's a blessing. And that's what I love about real estate. It's like, man, you get to every day get up and talk to people about real estate and help them with their probably number 1 financial asset, and help them to create these amazing memories, and help to build long-lasting relationships and get in front of so many more opportunities that are all around us every single day.
I love that. It's so true. And going deeper, I'm curious. So what did you say the one thing that you learned though was? So like you went through all the hard knocks and it sounded like it took you a while to scale. And then once you scaled, you were overzealous with your purchases and you bought a lot of things really quick and didn't foresee obviously 2008 and things happened. So what was the determining, like what changed? Like what did you learn from that you helped you have more success with your next ventures that you have now? And also it's kind of a 2-part question. Also, what have you done to protect yourself against collapse of the market again, so you don't repeat the cycle?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I have done is, first and foremost, I didn't give up. And trust me, there were many days when I really, honestly, I didn't want to like get up from the bed. Like I was curled up. Like, look, my wife is in New York. I'm here. I'm losing the house. I got creditors calling me left and right. I owe $500,000 in debt. Like I got employees that are calling me and asking me what's going on, this and that. All of this happening. And I mean, I'm young. Like at that time, I was 2008, 2009. So I was like 30 years old. I was 30 years old and trying to figure this out on my own. And for me, it was like, look, I can't give up. I can't let my wife down. I cannot let my kids down. I cannot let my employees, whatever left of them, down. I gotta push through. And one thing that I learned then is the fact that, like, again, like we all go through these seasons. So during that period of time, we were like in winter. I was in winter. Right?
Yeah.
But winter doesn't last forever. Unless, of course, you're like in Antarctica, I think, or
Exactly.
but for the most part, like there's going to be a spring, right? And there's going to be summer. There's going to be, right. So for me, I just like, all right, the next day, and let me try to just get better, get myself better mentally every single day. Just try to get better. So, and the fact that I was not able to go and see my son's birth, really like, for me, that was it. I was like, I cannot believe I'm dealing with so much shit here, so much crap here. I cannot believe that I don't have a few $100s to fly out there, right? I cannot believe I have to do all of this stuff and let my family down. So that really always been kind of on top of my mind since then. I was like, there's no way I'm going to let my family down, right? And the second question that you have for what was the second question?
So like, what have you done to protect your assets, protect yourself from not repeating what happened previously as far as losing it all from the downturn?
Because I always go back to that.
I love it.
I always go back to that. Even my earlier years, right? Going back when we came to this country with nothing. Think about it, like, this is what happened, right? I'm 13 years old. We don't have any money. My dad falls into this major depression. And 4 months, 5 months later, he goes back. Wow. And I'm oldest child, and it's my mom. My mom takes first job, second job. Sometimes she works 3 jobs. And I'm working also after school. And I would say about 5 years or so, it was me and my mom while dad is there trying to figure out what he wants to do. He tried a couple of different businesses. They didn't go anywhere. So from age 13 to age 17, it's me and mom. So what I went through, I don't want to go back to it.
Yeah. And
that's what really kind of constantly pushes me forward. And also, when you go through so much of that stuff, you almost kind of become immune to a lot of it. So like, for instance, when I started my own brokerage in 2020, on January 14, 2020, and then COVID happened in March, and everything was on lockdown, and my agents were flipping out, my staff was concerned. I'm like, all right, cool. The next day I came to the office and we're like, let's figure this out. Now, was I concerned? Sure I was. Look, I mean, I just started a brokerage and my agents are coming and crying and basically telling me that they're going to go find a job and all of that stuff. But what happened to me when I came to this country, what happened to me in 2007, 2008, 2009, what happened to me in 2013, 14, 15 with ulcerative colitis hardened me to the point where I am so immune to a lot of this stuff. And here's another way I look at it. It's like, we all go through problems every single day, but in reality, if you guys think about it, how many of these problems do you guys actually going to remember a week or month or 3 months from now? Not that many.
Not many.
Not that many. So why freak out?
Yep.
Why lose a day? Why lose your energy? Why lose your time? Why potentially lose a good relationship, a loving relationship, because of a problem or two?
100%. I absolutely love that. So let's go a little bit deeper into what you're doing over on the brokerage side. So you started your own brokerage in 2020 and you went in that route. And then now with the change of EXP and Reels and all these different companies out there, you decided to do your own thing. So are you underneath any of those branches, or this is independent broker, you're on your own, this is your thing?
Yeah, all of those are great brokerages, but look, I mean, the way I look at it is, I think to a degree, if you will, the brokerages are paving the way for the other brokerages to grow, right? So, I like those brokerages because they're multidimensional brokerages, right? Not only you can sell real estate, but you can also recruit, right? And create that residual income, right? So I think companies like EXP and Real, and there are some other companies that are, up and coming, they're all probably going to stay, and they're all probably going to gain some market share, or possibly even significant market share, right? Yep. And we're kind of, moving into that direction as well. We're going to be introducing our revenue share product, also going to be 7 levels deep, with our, agency hybrid coaching company that we do have potential partnership opportunities, not only here in the state, but in other states as well. I'm a believer in that model, right? But we also like brokerage agnostic in terms of like branding. I mean, we have clients that are indies. We have clients that are franchisees, big box brokerages, right? And at the end of the day, ultimately, I think for a brokerage to continue to grow, you have to have a predictable way of attracting talent. Yep. right? And I'm not just talking about real estate agents, I'm also talking about the staff.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the reality. There are 100,000 real estate brokerages out there in the United States. 80% of them have 7 or less agents underneath of them. So that means for the most part, brokerage owner is wearing multiple hats. He's still in production. He's still probably managing and in charge of compliance and doing all that kind of stuff. Probably still like, doing office management and admin. And then whenever by find time, they do some recruiting. The biggest challenge most of them have is the fact that they're just not able to consistently attract agents into their companies. Mm-hmm. And agents move the needle. The more agents you have, the more opportunities for transactions you get. Mm-hmm. And the more transactions equals more revenue. Now, some brokerages say, well, you know what? I really would like to focus on producing agents. Absolutely. We all want producing agents. But in order for you to get to the producing agents, you got to have agents in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're going to just sit there and say, I only want to pick the producing agents, everybody wants to pick producing agents. But in reality, like our job as brokerage owners, we have to attract agents when we have to create an environment for these agents to continue to develop so they can produce. And then we also have to have the environment where those agents can actually stick around. The retention piece have to be in place. So all of those things together in concert got to work together in order for you to continue to grow your brokerage. Right? Mm-hmm. So, and then the fourth piece of it is the revenue drivers. Like, okay, so you have a real estate brokerage, that's great. What about mortgage? What about title? What about insurance? What about property management? Like all of them are interconnected to the real estate brokerage world. Why not have the ownership in all of them?
Very interesting.
Why not get the piece of the action from all of them? Because ultimately the real estate brokerage or even a team is the engine that spits out the opportunities for all of them. So that's something that we have done is we got a mortgage, we got a title, we got a property management. We're in a process of starting our insurance company. We have a digital company as well, where we do lead gen services for our clients. And they're all interconnected to the real estate brokerage. Real estate brokerage is the engine. And by the way, this is not something that is kind of like a discovery or something like that. I mean, the large companies like KWs of the world, the Reals of the world, the XPs of the world, they all have mortgage, they all have title, they all have other ancillaries that support their business growth.
Yep, that vertical integration is huge.
Yeah.
Well, where in all of this is like your end goal? Is your end goal to build a legacy for your kids? Is it to, just retire in the next 5 years? Like where are you bringing this to the final destination?
So the end goal, legacy. So I'm doing this for my kids. Like there are certain things in life that are priceless. Like for instance, I think family is priceless. Your health is priceless. Your faith in God is priceless. All of those are priceless. And there are things that are important. Like business is very important. I love business. I love to play the game of business. I love to coach and mentor, support and guide agents, entrepreneurs, business owners. That's what really gets me up every single morning. I love to build things, grow things. All of those things, that's what I enjoy. So retirement for me is never really, like I don't see myself retiring even at age 75 or 80, to be honest with you. Now, does that mean that I'm going to be tied up to the business, 60, 70 hours a week? Absolutely not. But I enjoy building things. And I think there's going to be a time where, I'm going to have great leaders in my companies that are going to be running those companies on a day-to-day basis. And I'm just going to be there as a sounding board. And if they need my, guidance, and if they want, to pick my brain or get some wisdom, hopefully they see that I have some wisdom. I don't know. I'm going to be there for them. So, but yeah, that's really what I want. I ultimately, like, every day I take one day at a time, dude. Like, I make it so simple right now. For me, it's like, every day I'm here. I'm here for a reason, and I'll try to make the best out of it.
I love that.
That's it, right? And the best, what I'm talking about, is like having a version of myself that is better than I am right now. So, like, this is my current version. This is my kind of like the next version of myself, and I'm every day striving and trying to get better to get to that next version of myself.
I love that. That's awesome. And as we get closer to the end of the show, I'm curious. So there's a broker out there. They're in that 80 percentile, and they're doing all the things, wearing all the hats. Like, what advice would you give that person in regards to things for them to think about to help them maybe scale up, grow? Of course, links are below. Go follow Alan. Everything's down there. They can, of course, connect with you online. But as they're watching, what would you like to give to them?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, what is that they really want? That's one of the first questions they should ask themselves. Like, what do I really want out of my business? You see, like, we all consider ourselves business owners, right? And I had this question I asked. We had our client mastermind in Scottsdale about 2 months ago, and I asked this question, like, how many of you guys here consider yourselves business owners? And everybody raised their hand. Like, everybody raised their hand and said, we're a business owner. And then my follow-up question was like, if God forbid something happens to you tomorrow, or a key member of your team leaves, or let's say a majority of your agents leave for whatever reason, right? How many businesses that here right now can actually survive? And only like 1 or 2 people raised their hand. So in reality, we're not really business owners. Business owns us, and we're running owner-dependent businesses. So a lot of those people that you mentioned, Norman, their business owns them. They're running an owner-dependent business. So I think to get to the next stage, which I think is buying back time. Because ultimately, I think that's why we want to have a business, because we don't want to be in that business from morning to evening, 5, 6, 7 days a week. We want to have a business that generates the cash flow, and we can use that cash flow to do whatever we want to do with it.
Yeah.
Right. So to get to that next stage is where you got to have people, right? You got to have people. That's agents, that's staff, and then you have to have systems that supports those people. And then ultimately you will have the capital to reinvest and redeploy in acquiring income producing assets. And that's the multiplication piece of it. Right? So stages, owner dependent, buying back time, and then ultimately multiplying that by redeploying your income, your capital in acquiring income producing assets, whatever that is, rental properties, stocks, bonds, other businesses, whatever you decide to do. So as a business owner, you want to get to at least buying back time stage where you don't have to wear every single hat in the business and constantly feel overwhelmed, right? And trying to constantly pull this business forward by yourself.
I love that. I think a lot of people do that. They wear so many hats. They're all over the place. They're trying to keep the business afloat. They can't take a vacation. If they do, it's going to jeopardize an opportunity or a deal, which is unfortunate when a lot of people are slaves out there to their business. So I love how you articulated that. And I would advise anyone who's viewing and listening to reach out to Alan, check out what he has. And who knows, maybe one person out there can see this show and hire you, right? And get help from you, from someone that's, school of hard knocks, been there, done it, lived it, and kept moving forward to create a legacy for your family. I love that.
Well, thank you, Alan.
Thanks, guys.
Of course. So, no, this has been great, man. I really appreciate your time today, Alan, and a lot of golden nuggets, and definitely an amazing story that I think a lot of people can resonate with as well, because I can imagine people going through things like that and really being like, whoa, okay, I'm going through it right now. And if you could do it, I could keep going.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share my story and my journey and the platform. You guys doing a great thing. I mean, over 300 podcasts and still going strong. I tell you guys, you're an inspiration to me and what you guys are doing, because I'm doing this podcast thing. I just started recently, and it's not easy. And I know exactly what you guys are. You guys, phenomenal. So anything that I can do to help you guys to grow your reach and help you with your business, I'm here for you guys.
Thank you, Alan.
Amen. I love that. Thank you so much. Dan and I had a lot of things transition over the years, but we're keeping this thing alive and well. So it's been fun. And we'll have to connect off air. Alan, we'd love to partake and serve and support your podcast as well. Any way, I can. I know that I'm in your market, and so that would be awesome, Dan. And thanks so much for co-hosting today, as always.
Thank you.
Of course, take care, guys.
Of course, take care. And thanks to all our viewers and listeners out there. I want to thank you for watching. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow Alan, and it is our intention for you to take things from our episodes each and every week. Apply to your business, have more massive success. And we'll see you all on the next one.